The 1980s were a magical decade. It gave us Donkey Kong and home VCRs. We had a cowboy in the White House.
I've already lived about 20 years longer than my life expectancy at the time I was born. That's a source of annoyance to a great many people.
And in the theaters, there was an alien who just wanted to phone home.
E.T. Home phone.
Girls had big hair and wore bright neon colors, while guys wore shoes with no socks. And everyone wanted their MTV.
I want my MTV. All right.
As good as the 80s were for the rest of the world, the BCAC experienced a decline in sports in this decade that almost led to the club becoming non-existent. One of the mainstays in Broad Channel over the years has been cheerleading. When the BCAC started in the 60s, cheerleading was one of the first programs organized. It continued through the 80s and is still a big part of the organization today.
It started when there were no people cheerleaders, and we wanted to start it, so we had gone to Mrs. Keneally and had asked her if she could coach. Pretty sure we went to Mr. Gray and we had to approach him and see if we could do it. And we started the Pee-wee cheerleaders.
I'd say we had close to 20, 25 girls.
We cheered outside. We basically had to get our own costumes made.
My Aunt Thomasina helped us, and we went and bought corduroy material, and she laid out the patterns, and she was showing us how to sew, and she did them up for us, and that was our first outfit, green, and we had white turtleneck sweaters underneath them.
Green and white. We even wore cowgirl boots one year.
Yeah. We did our own shakers. We had none of this cover up with the jackets and the sweater. No, we were in our uniforms with our saddle shoes, our white socks, and we cheered. We cheered in the rain, we cheered in the snow, any type of weather we were there.
You had to practice, you had to know what you were doing, you had to look good, and we looked good. We took a championship one year.
Yeah, no, we had to win. We were good.
And you'd wait around for each, group to do this, and you'd be...
Yeah, sometimes you would have 8, 10 groups. And you just had to wait it out and hope for the best. And one year we were the best.
It was exciting. We got to be right there, inside the ropes, and go out in the middle of the field and do our halftime performance. Honestly, as a kid in grammar school, I didn't even know the AC existed until we wanted to be cheerleaders.
Cheerleading has changed immensely since its inception into the BCAC in the 60s.
I think it's definitely different because the AC backs up the cheerleaders, and I think that they have either outfits that they reuse every year or something like that. That's what I had heard.
They do amazing things. We didn't do that. But we did win a championship. But we did have fun. No, we don't do it. These kids, we don't. We did splits. We did that, but not what they do today. No, there's just no.
Well, we didn't do cartwheels, and we weren't doing all that. We cheered. They cheered then. They didn't do all these little fancy things.
Our favorite cheer, we don't remember. It was something to the effect of, when you're down, you're down. When you're up, and your feet went up, and then there was a Mississippi mud.
In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. We sailed the Broad Channel and wanted to be fine. We found the Broad Channel. Pee-wees holding that line.
Charlie, Charlie, he's our man. If he can't do it, Ronnie can, Michael can. That, and that's probably still around.
Well, the sideline cheers, there was a book of them that we know every word, every step.
But we had good cheers. And then we had something with kick him in the head, just Broad Channel style. Kick him in the head, but don't let nobody catch you.
Once the championship started to pile up for the BCAC, the ultimate celebration was thought up for the kids: honking.
Honking started right from the beginning. And there was a car, it was a truck, but his name was Dickie Randell, and it was the father. And he had this horn, which had about 6 horns on it, and one was crazier than the next. And we always met down at American Legion, and that's where everybody would meet, get in line, and to this day it's still going on. Outsiders pass and they think it's Mardi Gras or something, they don't know what's going on.
Oh, we did do the honking. Yeah, definitely. We were very loud, very loud. The girls would fling their towels outside the windows, sometimes even a bathing suit. We were late coming through Broad Channel because swimming, sometimes we didn't get back to Broad Channel until 10:30, 11 o'clock. It did not matter. We woke up the town. The next day people would tell me, oh, they could hear us all the way down the end of 18th Road. But the girls loved it, loved to honk.
The 80s would see many of the founding members retire from the club, making way for new faces.
My main part of the work with the AC was being the treasurer and president on and off for 12 or 14 years.
And I ended up becoming the treasurer at first, and I was the worst treasurer the AC ever had. I bounced more checks than you could ever dream in your life.
I was a baseball director, I was an athletic director, I was the parish representative with the CYO.
I was home one morning and Charlie Lediker and Teddy Roward asked me to fill in for 6 months.
Thanks to Charlie Lediker, recruited me and Bobby Russell to join.
And so it was 12 or 14 years later, I was through.
I ended up becoming the president of the AC, and then I went on to the board of directors for 23 years.
Even with new members in place, the BCAC found itself struggling to survive.
In my view, the BCAC in the 80s was kind of, it was the downside of the BCAC. It was very inactive.
BCAC in the 80s was a transition time.
The early 80s, the athletic club did very well, and then it's just like the other years, it faded away.
Well, in the 80s, it kind of like dwindled down a little bit.
All the organizations have their high and low points. At that time, I believe we used to have meetings at the AC, and it was about 8 of us, and I think 6 of us had no kids, and we were on the board of directors involved with the AC.
The population was down, and we didn't have that much of participation.
New people came in, and then the club really went downward. It was hard to get money because there was like a transition going on in Broad Channel. We had in '84, everybody started buying their property and stuff. The money was tight. People had to put up the money. Some didn't have it at the time, but they had to borrow, so they didn't have enough to pay for sports and stuff.
We try to be fair with all the families, and if a kid couldn't afford it, the kid played. There was no, we weren't a money-hungry organization, and we said, well, you didn't pay, your son can't play, or your daughter can't be a cheerleader, or she can't swim. That wasn't our goal. Our goal was to get as many kids participating as possible. And I think we managed, we struggled by, but we got it done.
John Harnisher was running baseball by himself at the time that I got involved in it. And if it wasn't for him, there probably would have been nothing, no baseball.
At the time we had baseball, soccer, we had the swimming team.
We started the swim team probably with about 15 girls. And I went out searching for a pool. Everything was very expensive. And the cost of the pools, it wasn't looking good. But I didn't give up, and then I found a program called the PAL, and they allowed us to swim under their program in Far Rockaway High School for free. Our team was known as the fun team, though. We had a lot of laughs. We took everybody because we needed everybody, and we were up against teams of 70 to 80 girls. So the outlook was not too good. I coached for probably about 10 years, and we went from 15 girls to about 70. And then after me, it was Ann Ford and Mary Ford, who were on the swim team with me for about 6 or 7 years. So to see them take over swimming was a good feeling.
I think soccer was going. Harry McMahon ran the soccer for years, and Barbara Hogan ran the track.
We played indoor sneaker hockey up in the Legion.
And then I think it was 85, we had another football team. We went out to Hofstra for the championship, and Masakis from Pop Warner was glad to see that we were in there because we got a lot of people from it. Basically, Broad Channel sold out his stadium that day, so he was glad about that.
Coached the older 16, 17-year-olds to 3 division championships. We didn't win those championships, but we went there and we had a great time getting there and had a great bunch of kids.
After that, football died again.
And then we started the basketball program over in 180. John Wilson and his brother Gerard were the main coaches. And there was the Aspects 27 that was started, I guess, by Charlie and Roberta Howard and Ray Coyle, and of course he had a daughter that had a hearing problem and stuff, so they worked through with somebody to get a remedial program for after school to help the kids with their homework and stuff.
And it was an after-school program to get the kids off the streets because Broad Channel didn't have different auditoriums, which we still don't have today, and indoor gyms. And the kids would end up coming after school, some of them would do homework.
And the kids would go there after school and they would do schoolwork, homework. And the teachers were excellent. They did a good job. They got a salary.
And then they would stay and use the center, afterwards. They play knock hockey and ping pong.
Play pool and play cards, and at least it got them off the streets and it got them to go somewhere.
We had to buy all that equipment for them, and they had a place to hang out. It was a good thing, and we really didn't have any problems with that.
We had the ping pong tables and everything because kids had nothing to do in Broad Channel.
I worked in PS 47 besides being a teen center, and I just loved people, children, everything. But I had to be the disciplinary. You were bad? I told you were bad. I was in charge of all these children running around at the station.
And they loved it.
It was the best thing of my life. It was the best time of my life.
But like everything else, the funding ended, and that ended.
At the end of the decade, due to lack of funds and members, the BCAC was seriously facing the possibility of closing its doors forever.
Nobody wanted to see the AC die altogether, and the people that played for the club got back into it and realized that it was a great thing. Some of us stayed away too long, and we shouldn't have. Got back into it and made it go again and brought new people back into it. It made it work.
Gonna rise up.